we are continuing on the topic of mixing monitors. Today again will be our last day meeting virtually when it comes to the audio production side of things. So let's focus on mixing monitors, which will help you to uh, understand how to control the stage. And today we're going to focus on trying to bring things into where you currently are. Because I know there's a couple of complaints on me teaching about the future, but not teaching on what you guys have right now and how you can apply to it. When it comes to certain things with the instruments. So I'm going to focus more on that, bringing it to where you're at, to your current setup. All right, so here are a few steps, to mixing monitors from the front of house engineer position, which is the position you currently have right now in the back of the room. So during rehearsals for the house mix, quickly you're gonna blend the vocals as best as you can and make sure that every instrument is heard. Two people are coming in. All right. So during rehearsals, you have to figure out a way to have the singers come for rehearsal and the musicians come for rehearsal and the audio team to come for rehearsal. You have to create a foundation for the Sabbath morning service. You want to get the hard stuff, the tough stuff, get that out from rehearsal time, and then when Sabbath comes, it's more like just continuing where you left off at, but it's a little easier for you when it comes to making sure things sound good and everything's balanced. So during rehearsals, let me repeat again, during rehearsals for the house mix, quickly blend the vocals as best as you can and make sure that every instrument is heard. And one way to make sure that every instrument is heard from your situation that you currently are at is by, if let's say the drums are too loud and you can't hear the keyboard, you tell the drummer from rehearsal to play at a lower volume. Ask if you could switch to different drumsticks to keep the volume overall at lower volume, because he's really the threshold. Whoever's playing the drums is really the threshold. If they play loud, then you can't hear the vocal mics, you can't hear the violin, and then you're forced to crank up everything. So rather than putting yourself in a situation where you have to crank up the volume of everything, just have the drummer, who's probably, if he's the one that's louder than everything, have him turn down, have him calm down. It's not the drums that are loud, it's the drummer that's hitting it that's making the drums loud. All right, so you just do that, and then you see things, your mix, your sound will start to change for the better. So I like to mix from the house position during rehearsals, then work my way to the monitors. So once you get the blend of the blend of the house speakers right when it comes to the vocals and where the instruments are at, make sure the violin is heard, even though the drums are there and then the keyboard has its amp, electric guitar is going. You still want to make sure the violinist is heard. Once you got all that nicely balanced in the house speakers, or to the best of your ability, then you work to the monitors. Because the reason why is because you would focus. The reason why you would focus on the house mix in this situation is because everyone on stage will most likely hear a blend of the house mix and the monitor mix. Now, step number 2, go on the stage and ask the lead singer what they want in their monitors. If you had floor monitors for the musicians, which you don't, you would do the same for the musicians. But since you're dealing with just the singers, anyone on stage having floor monitors, I recommend rather than going to each praise team member, can you hear this? Can you hear that? Just go to the leader. You solve a lot of issues because everyone's supposed to follow the lead singer. Every singer is supposed to follow the lead singer. The lead singer is in charge of things, not the fourth person on the praise team. You know how too many chefs in the kitchen, you can run into that situation. Everyone wants to lead, but by your body language, by your approach to the singers from rehearsal, you're letting everyone know psychologically that this person, the leader, is this person that I'm listening to, not anyone else. Whatever the lead singer says is what goes. So I like to go to the lead singer. What do you want in the floor monitors? And maybe you might hear someone like the third singer on the praise team might say, and can I also get a little bit of this and that? But you keep control of things by going to the lead singer. Now, step number 3, if they want more of a particular instrument or vocal mic, lower the loudest thing in their monitors a little. So, for example, if you're hearing, you have, actually, next slide shows that sometimes lowering something makes room for other things to be heard a little louder or a little better. So, step number 4, increase the volume of what they want. Sometimes it just needs more volume. But let's go back to this. Lowering is better. Lowering something that's loud in the floor monitors, for example. Let's say a soprano, or the lead singer wants the soprano to be put up a little bit more in a floor monitor. You can go on stage during rehearsal, or even go to the mixer with your headphones and listen to hear what's loud in the floor monitors. It might be an alto that's too loud in the floor monitor. It might be a tenor that's too loud in the floor monitor. It might be one soprano that's louder than the other soprano. So you want to lower, just listen carefully. You remember what I showed you about soloing each channel? You solo each channel to hear who's that loud person. Because you might put on the headphones, you solo that aux, that the aux of the bus that the mixer, that the floor monitor is connected to. You might hear that someone's loud when you listen to that aux or bus, but you're gonna solo to figure out who it is. Solo each channel one at a time to hear who's that voice that's sticking out a little too much. And sometimes you just lower that particular microphone a little bit, and then raise up the microphone that they want up, and you get that nice blend that they're looking for. And then sometimes also, it might be an instrument that's connected to the amps, like the keyboard. The keyboard amp might be too loud. So you might need to just tell the keyboardist, hey, can you turn down the amp a little bit? And you go back to the lead singer, just confirm if things sound better. He or she might say, yes, yeah, it sounds a little bit better now. I can hear more. Let's say if the lead singer says, well, I can't hear the keyboard. It's a whole different scenario. Because your keyboard, last time I checked, is not going to the mixer, it's going to the amp. And last time I checked, the keyboard amp is facing the audience. What I would do is that I would turn the amp a little towards, rather than it facing the audience, I have it face the drums, because it's halfway facing the stage where the singers are. So the keyboardists are still getting it, the musicians are still getting it, of course the audience is still going to get it. Now you have the stage that's going to get that as well, to get the sound of that keyboard. And you just, of course, go back to the lead singer again. How does that the keyboard sound? And they'll say yes or no, if it sounds good or not. If you need to raise up the volume, you raise up the volume a little bit, or you just find a sweet spot when it comes to where you would place the the keyboard amp for everyone to be happy. Any questions?
Yeah, we also have a bass player.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes he comes with, well, he has his own amp. So that amp should be facing towards the piano, you think? Because he sits on the opposite side.
So he sits where the drums are at.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can have it, but is the keyboardist saying that he can't hear the bass guitarist?
Oh no. All the instruments hear themselves. The problem that we may be having is the instrument or the band would be very loud. And sometimes the singers that are on the pulpit can't hear themselves singing. Or even sometimes the piano can't even hear itself because
The
either
keyboardist?
yeah, the keyboardist. Yeah,
Okay.
because either the drums and the bass player are a little loud.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the drums are not really mic'd.
Nope. And if and we will mic it, and I'll speak to you about the quote when we get a chance to talk. Um,
Yeah, okay, okay.
yeah, and it's
Hmm.
completed. I just wanted to go over a few things with you.
Got you. Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. All right.
Yeah, when it comes to drums, the mic and uh, majority of the time would be just for the internet stream and for the recording.
Got
If
it.
you guys do have recordings, yeah,
Got it. Okay.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you have to tell the musicians to turn down. I'm telling you, the audience is gonna have a better experience.
Yes.
It's gonna sound less noisy in the room. It's gonna be much more of a worshipful experience. And when we meet in person, I'll be able to show you all that in real time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because sound engineer should be controlling everything that breathes in there when it comes to whatever comes out of the speaker or whatever is coming out of an amp, whatever is coming from an instrument acoustically.
Hmm.
The sound engineer's job is to control that, to make sure it works with everything.
Hmm.
Because you're painting a picture or putting a puzzle together. We all, the singers and musicians and sound engineers, even a video production team, we're all doing something to create an emotion. But if something is off, it throws off the emotion that you're trying to create or that you need to create. So it's almost like we sound engineers are producers. I myself and maybe one other sound engineer within the Seventh-day Adventist community, we take control over whatever event or worship service that we do. Like we tell people what to do. This is how you hold the mic. Don't hold it down here. No, I need you to hold the mic right here. No, I don't need you to grab any mic to do a solo. I want you to grab the lead mic to do a solo. It's like we're creating our structure that we know will create a great outcome for everyone. So I'll teach you guys that, of course, too. I'll create a structure. CWC SDA Church and Deer Park SDA Church. Those are two churches I worked with very closely over the past couple of years, and we, I, we, they, I created a structure for them, and for the past few years, they've been sticking to it. And they make mistakes, but the structure works for them, and I'll create one for you guys as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to repeat all of these steps. Of course, if let's say it's the same thing that the singer wants something else to be heard or whatever, or someone that's singing to a track wants something to be heard or not heard. You repeat these steps. You go over. Okay, let's see what's too loud, what needs to be brought down. Okay, the thing that they're saying is too low. We need to crank that up. But maybe there's something preventing that person on stage from hearing what they need to hear. Maybe it is an instrument. Maybe it's a singer in the floor monitor. So you have to just problem solve a little bit. Just repeat these 4 steps. You should be fine. And don't get nervous. Just do it. It takes time, practice. So note if you are using a digital mixer, which you guys currently have, you can fix the issues in the monitor mix while on stage using a tablet or iPad. Excuse me. And with your current mixer, I believe, yeah, you could use in the tablet and iPad. You just connect a router to it, and you can do that. I have to look at where the input is for that, but I'm sure it's right there on the back of the mixer. All right, so can you guys hear me fine? I'm sorry. Am I too
Yeah.
low?
No, we hear you very well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, or you can, another way that you could do it is when it comes to listening to the floor monitors during rehearsals or even during the service, you go to the sound booth. If we're talking about rehearsal right now, you go to the sound booth to use your headphones or speaker monitors. That's step number one. Step number two, depending on what audio mixer that you are using, you may need to press select on the bus or the aux that you will be using to listen to. So everything that I've showed you over the past couple of weeks, every mixer, digital mixers, certain digital mixers, you have to actually like press this button named select on that particular bus or aux, and then press solo to be able to hear whatever's connected to it, that bus or aux, to be able to hear it. Like let's say if it was a floor monitor connected to that output. Remember outputs? We went over that last week. You would do those steps to be able to hear it. Now, like I said, other digital mixers, you may not need to go through that step, but you have to see what's right with your audio mixer to be able to be able to do that. And we'll look over that in person, or we could do a quick YouTube search. Type in the manufacturer personas and then the model. Now I'm forgetting. I don't have the picture in front of me. Studio Live 16 channel.
16.0.1, I think, something like that.
Something. Yeah. And you could like spend time researching your current mixer. All right. So step number three, of course, I said press the solo, or it might be called PFL, it might be called AFL button on the bus or aux to listen to what the talent is hearing from their floor monitors. That's if, like I said, if you don't want to go on stage and listen to the floor monitors yourself. Step number four, depending on what audio mixer that you're using, you need to press a button to put the audio mixer in a mode that will only mix the buses or auxes. And we go through that as well in person, because I would have to use it in person, so you're going to be there to see. So remember, constantly increasing the volume of everything will lead to saturated sound and mix. So basically saying it's too loud. It's going to be too loud. It's going to sound like a mess. So now let's go to the mixing monitors from the monitor engineer position. And this position is more so used for like large events. So you have two separate audio mixers and two separate audio engineers. You have the front of house position, FOH, which is the one that you have at your church. The mixer in the back or even in the middle. And then you have the monitor engineer position, where the monitor is next to the stage. I'm sorry, the mixer for the monitor engineer is next to the stage or on the stage, and he or she controls or mixes the monitors on the stage, or mixes the in-ear monitors that the singers and musicians have on stage. So he or she controls all that. And the front of house engineer just focuses on the house mix and the recording. All right, so here's uh, a picture of a monitor engineer right here. He's mixing on the Avid um, Venue. So S3LX console is a very expensive console, but it has a lot of nice um, plugins and stuff like that. A lot of cool stuff on it to make things. It sounds good. The mixer sounds great, and then it has plugins inside of it to make your sound better. Very expensive. I don't remember the price. I know it's like tens of thousands of dollars for this mixer. Um, and then you see the monitor engineer has an in-ear, and the singers on the stage have their in-ears as well. So as much as possible, when these sound engineers are on tour, touring with groups, like let's say, yeah, Beyonce has, she probably has a audio crew that tours. But she does have an audio crew. A lot of times, a lot of these artists tour with groups. Tour with their AV technicians. Every once in a while, you hear of them getting an AV company from that particular state that they're traveling to, or that particular country that they're traveling to. But a lot of them travel with their own crew. So the audio engineer would normally make sure that he put in a quote as soon as possible for all the singers and musicians to have the same in-ear monitor as him or her. So when he's EQing the vocal mics and the singers, I see you, Stevens. When he's EQing them, when he's balancing things out, everyone can hear what he's hearing in his in-ear monitor. All right, go ahead, Stevens.
I just want to confirm that in-ear monitor that the mixer, not the mixer, but the audio engineer has is to communicate with the other people on stage, correct? Because you said they all have the same one.
Oh, you said it's used to communicate with them on stage?
Yeah.
Well, it's used to yeah, you can use it for that as well, but it's used to primarily for like the sound engineer to be able to hear what he wants to hear when it comes to the mix. Yeah, he uses it to communicate to be able for everyone to hear each other without the audience hearing them. He have a microphone somewhere here, and he's talking to the microphone. Maybe it's a microphone that can connect somewhere over here, like a gooseneck microphone, and he'll talk right into it, or a handheld microphone he put somewhere there, and he talk into it, and in their in-ears, they'll be able to hear what he's saying. And when they speak into their microphone, their microphone's not connected to the house speakers as well. That particular talk-back microphone, when they talk, everyone on the stage can hear, including the sound engineer. So yeah, they can use it to communicate back and forth. But primarily it's used to mix the music on stage. And we always try to go for high fidelity in-ear monitors, in-ears, I should just say. These things like good quality ones with multiple drivers. The more drivers you have, the more detailed your sound gets. When you have multiple drivers, you can separate different parts of the frequency spectrum. So the more drivers you have, the better the sound, majority of the time. So these guys could be paying $3,000 for in-ears, for some really good ones with multiple drivers that give you sound that is mind-blowing, sound you've never heard before from music, and you're able to hear the details of the sound. Yeah, good question. And so you have to look at him with the in-ears, but you could use the in-ears, you can use headphones, you could use studio monitors. There's a second one over here. There's not only one studio monitor, there's a second one, it's just not in the picture. So there's various ways they can mix on that stage. I wouldn't use a I wouldn't use a studio monitor. This is actually the front of house position, FOH front of house position at CWC SDA Church when I was mixing there a while ago. That's inside of an AV room, actually an audio room. But if you're on the
About
side
that.
of the stage, huh?
Yeah, I was about to ask you a question about that, like having a own like a separate room to be in doing audio visual kind of like production. So would you recommend that like we stay where we are currently? Because I feel like having an own room, it would be like beneficial because that way we can monitor who's coming in and out of the room so that way like not too many people are coming, especially like when if they want to do like people coming in there saying, "Oh, this doesn't sound good," like that can kind of get overwhelming at times. But also that it would also we can hear what we hear is not so like it doesn't get mixed up with what everyone else hears, so that we can tailor it to everyone hears a good sound that we hear separately, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I believe. No, I recommend if you're mixing for the audience, the front of house position, that you have that audio mixer out where where you can hear what the audience is hearing. So it shouldn't be in a sound room like this. Like this is literally a room that could fit maybe 4 people barely, and it shouldn't be because you got to keep running outside to be able to hear what the audience is hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I recommend um, being outside with the audience. And to make sure that well, if you want to hear a particular microphone from the front of house position, you want to solo it, I recommend using headphones that are closed back headphones. This is the, oh man, I'm forgetting. I used to use these headphones. HD 280. Yeah, the Sennheiser HD 280 headphones. I don't use them anymore. I like the one I showed you guys last week, which is the Blue Mixfy headphones. It's a closed back headphones. Isolates sound basically. Just a little bit. It's not noise cancellation, but it blocks out sound enough for you to be able to hear what you need to hear in the headphones. Yeah, and
Nate,
as you,
quick question. So places that have this room where things are enclosed, right? Is it mostly for security to secure equipment and all that kind of stuff?
churches do it for different reasons. Um, I don't really know why they did it for this church. I think both the audio at the time, the audio and the video equipment were in there. I don't
Hmm,
know why they did it. Yeah,
hmm.
so I don't know.
Because you're so right. I mean, when you go to large venues, even in a stadium or whatever, I see the mixing people right smack in the middle of the thing, right? Even when the conference does its what do you call this? Large venue in um, camp meeting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
mixers or the engineers are in the middle of the room,
Yeah.
right center. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
you want to hear, yeah,
Totally
what
get
the
it.
audience is hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now I know a sound engineer, probably one or two that actually have. Um, I mean, well, okay, no, let me not say that. One. Yeah, your churches, a lot of churches, they have their audio mixer in the back of the room, like
Mhm.
how yours is, because they don't want to block the people in the audience and so forth.
Mm.
Uh, you don't want it to take up space, but the ideal position would be in the middle. Would to be in the is to be in the middle. of the room, so you can hear what everyone is hearing. You can walk in the back of the room and hear what the back is hearing too, so you just have a great reference as to what's going on in the room. But it's ideal to have, yeah, be in the middle. Hmm. Yeah, good one. All right, so you have this picture again. Uh, realize that reason why I went back to this picture, realize that there's no floor monitors on the stage. The less floor monitors you have, the quieter the stage will be. The less amps you have, the quieter the stage will be as well. So we want the audience to hear the house speakers, not amps, not floor monitors. We want them to hear a nice, clean sound from the house speakers. So no floor monitors there. In the large concerts, they have these are amps for like guitars, guitar amps, bass amps, and they have mics in front of them to pick up the natural sound of that instrument. They don't use. Sometimes they use DI boxes, depending on the sound engineer. Yeah, but I like the sound of the mic picking up the amp. It's such a natural sound. You can hear every single reverb from the electric guitarist. If he has a reverb or a delay, whatever special effects he's doing, you can hear it. The mic will pick it up. A condenser microphone will pick it up. The details of it. With the DI box, sometimes you can miss. Depending on if you go for with a cheap DI box, you probably miss certain things that the amp would have, reverbs and all that stuff. If you plug a 1/4-inch cable to the foot pedal of the electric guitar and connect that to the mixer, you should still hear the effects, I think. But I like the sound of mic and an amplifier. But you can't always do that because of the space. It might be a small church like yourself, where you like your church, where you have to get rid of amps because amps are too loud for such a small space. You want everything to come through the speakers. Unless you have a separate room where you could put the amps and the microphone, which is what they do on even in large events. A lot of times they put the amps behind the stage, and then put mics there, and they cover it with like a thick sheet, so it's harder for the mics to pick up anything else that's going on backstage. So it depends. If you guys, when you've completely rebuilt the church, if you have a separate room, maybe we could bring back the amps and put the amps in, a separate room, and even get a better sound. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So let's say if this is an old school setup right here that you're looking at. If like back in the day, there was no in-ear monitors or in-ears. Everyone had floor monitors. So since everyone here has floor monitors, the sound engineer, the monitor engineer, he would have to have floor monitor as well to get the best reference of what the singer is getting, the instruments, the musicians are getting. So, but that creates a very, very noisy stage. And realize the front house speakers are further up front, because if you have the house speakers behind the singers or behind the instruments, you run into higher chances of feedback. But if you have everything behind the house speakers, you run into less chances of feedback from the house speakers. All right, so these guys have their own floor monitors. The singer has 2 floor monitors. Electric guitarist, he has his own floor monitor. This could be the bass guitarist. He has his own floor monitor. You have these things called side fields. Normally, for the events I've worked, the large events, the side fields would just have uh, maybe just like an overall mix of everything that's on that stage, or someone requested, um, if someone requested, someone on, a part of the band just requested for only certain things to come through the side fields, then that'd be the only reason why you would hear something else coming from there. But it fills in any like dead spots on the stage, basically. That's what the side fields are for. Drums, same thing. So there's a different way of having the drummer hear the singers, and so you could place floor monitors by the drummer, but because the drummer is hitting hard, it's like for example, we did this in your church, maybe it might be a problem because the drummer, let's say he's hitting hard, and it might be too loud, and then now he has a floor monitor that he wants cranked up even more because he can't hear the singers. It's like it wouldn't it wouldn't be good. So in-ear monitors would be best for you guys. Yeah, so get rid of all these monitors. This is how it used to be. Now we've moved on. Yeah, moved on to in-ear monitors. Yeah. All right. So any questions that you guys have? This is actually my last slide.
I have a question, Nick. Actually,
Yes.
sure. What about the monitor? Just wanted to be sure. Uh, are you saying that, like, the people on the pulpit need to have a monitor in order to hear everything else? And
Say it again for me. I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
no. I'm not sure if what you're saying is that the instrumentist, let's say the bass guitar and drummer, plus the people singing, they each need to have a monitor in order to hear well what's going on.
Yeah, they need to have some way to hear what's going on around them. So, let's say for the musicians, musicians want to just sometimes hear just let's say the bass player just wants to hear the keyboardist. That's it. To help them navigate through the song. They may not want to hear singers. A lot of bass players are like that. Maybe the lead singer, but they don't want to hear background singers. They just want to hear the keyboardist because they're following the keyboardist. So you basically give them, well, for the size church that you have, you give them in-ear monitors. There's a quote that we created for your church. And it's basically, well, for you guys, it's headphones. You connect it to a small audio mixer, and the musicians can control their headphones, what they want to hear. So there'll be no floor monitors for them. They don't have to listen to the speakers that the audience is hearing. The more comfortable they are, the better they'll play, basically. So you want everyone to be able to hear what they need to hear. The singers have the floor monitors on the stage. They can hear things much clearer because all the amps, the bass amp will be gone. The bass amp will be gone because the bass player wouldn't need to hear himself from the amp anymore. He can hear himself from his headphones. Same thing with the keyboard amp. Keyboard amp will be gone because the keyboardist can hear himself now in headphones. So everyone should be able to hear what they need to hear.
Yeah, in that case, the issue with my church is mostly to listening. And that's like Louis was saying earlier. But I don't think we have a monitor for the stage, do we?
You do. It's on the sides. It's hidden.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
which is
maybe
good.
if it faces the monitor, the stage, maybe we can hear it better or singing on the stage.
Well, let's say it one more time.
No, I'm saying that maybe if we can turn to face the stage, would that be helpful? I don't know if it matters the direction of the monitor.
They're facing, last time I checked when I was there a few weeks ago, they're facing the podium. That's where most people would stand. Am I correct? Like the singers would stand close
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
them? Okay.
Let me
Okay,
say
so
something about this. There are people in my church. All they want to hear is something loud for them to hear something loud, and obviously they don't know what we know now, in the sense that the musicians, the performers, have to hear. I mean, me as a musician, if I can't hear what the violin is doing to follow and to whatever, it's not possible. And if the bass is not hearing what the keyboard is doing or the ambiance is happening, and that's why Nate was saying everybody now has to have ideally a monitor. Now, if everybody has to have a monitor, then it's too much boxes in the small space we have. So that's why he recommends now for the future, in the quote, that we will have in ear. Everybody will have their small thing in their ear listening to the whole thing, or
Okay.
privately mixing so that they can hear something louder than something else without affecting what the mixing is. So now the monitors that we have in the church, we have two of them. They are facing towards the back, not the back. I'm sorry, towards where the ministers sit. Right, that's where they're supposed to be facing. But the other
The
night,
budget.
yeah, the other day, what I saw is that somebody flipped them around so that they can face the audience.
oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, Nate? Right?
And one is
Yeah.
behind the TV too, which is really awkward because it kind of like makes it sound. It sounds weird from the left speaker, but the right speaker is kind of fine.
Yeah, I saw that the speaker is behind the TV. I didn't move it when I was there because I wanted to make sure that because once you bring a speaker further out to where the microphones are, because the violin mic is there, and I'm sure maybe the pastor comes off the pulpit and stuff like that here and there. People probably use the mic on the main floor area every once in a while, probably. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that you're there to make sure that there's no feedback for a physical change that you did. So I didn't want to touch anything if I wasn't going to be there on Saturday to to monitor things. I saw that too. That should be fixed.
What if we mount it to the corner of the ceiling? Wouldn't like angle it in a like kind of angle it downward, but like at a corner, so like it would be here, something like that, pointed towards wherever it needs to be pointed towards. Because I feel like having it on the ground, like especially like because the problem was it was behind the TV, and then you said that if the pastor wants to say he wants to come down and like, he moves a lot, say he wants to come down, then there would be feedback. So wouldn't moving it up on the ceiling be better? Like like the corner of the ceiling.
I wouldn't right now because you guys are in the phase of breaking down walls and stuff like that. I wouldn't put anything on the ceiling, on the wall, on the high parts of the wall, anything like that. I wouldn't mount anything on the walls. You're gonna have to bring it down anyway. So keeping it on the stand is fine. You just reposition it.
Yeah. So what I would recommend to my team here is that we, the AV team, need to find a way to make. I've even go to the church board and tell them that people need to listen to us or the lead person of the AV who's doing the mixing, because that person has the expertise or whatever, a little bit of expertise more than them, to know what the experience is and the best experience. Because sometimes you might have one guy who's singing, he wants to just hear his voice loud. And then he tells you, okay, crank me up. And then everybody else is having a bad day. No, I'm telling you, man, this is what I'm experiencing. And I'm having a bad day because it's just loud. One thing is so loud. One guy is just like, and the sound is distorted.
Yeah.
So he wants it that way, but that person needs to understand it's not just you, man. Or maybe you have a hearing problem. we can hear you, but just it's okay. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say.
Steven said 100%.
I'm frustrated.
Now, the thing is, this is what happens. I understand about the singing part. The singer wants to hear himself. Um, like last Friday, for example, the youth were doing the praise. I could not hear myself at all. At some point, I look at towards the bass and the drum, and I kind of told them go down a little bit because all I was hearing is them boom, 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 the bass, the drums, the guitars. I don't think the keyboard was that loud, but then the bass and the drum, yes. And if you cannot hear yourself, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's the reason why the singer is asking to crank me up because he probably cannot hear himself sing. And if you cannot hear yourself, it's hard for you to make sure you're in harmony with everything else because you need to hear what you're doing. And that has been an issue for me. Sometimes I cannot hear myself with all the music so loud.
Yeah.
Or some other people singing next to me, sometimes I cannot hear the next voice. And I have asked in the back to bring the volume up just because I cannot. I don't know if they can hear it in the back, but us up front, we cannot hear it. So,
I've run into that same. You can go.
Say again?
I was gonna say I ran into that same problem too, where it's just like I can't hear someone on stage, and I lower someone else, but then they ask to be put back up, and it's kind of like, but I'm doing it. You like, I feel like there's been like a certain trust between everyone on stage and everyone in the back because I feel like oftentimes I try to, I hear some things not sounding good. I try to fix that, and then that person tries to say that, I need to change that and do this instead. And I feel like oftentimes it gets like so repetitive because I'm trying to do because this is like before the training, so that's why I thought was best. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but the thing is, I feel like this to be like some kind of mutual understanding of if I'm doing this is because, this would sound good for the church, not just for everyone, like not just for everyone personally, but for like the general sound of the church. So I definitely see what you're saying. It's just that oftentimes lowering someone can lead to even more issues because they won't be that happy that you lowered them, I'd say.
Yeah, it's all about, like you said, it's about the majority, not the minority. So you do run into some singers, depending on their mindset. You run into some singers that just want everything to be loud, especially like visiting singers. They're singing to a track. They're used to going to, traveling to different churches, getting it their way, or they like a particular way that for their tracks to sound and for their voice to sound on the mic, but they may not know the personality of the church. Your church, for example, your church may want things at a lower volume. They're coming in wanting things loud. You could, I guess you could say, you can check them and let them know, hey, no, we don't do that here. You know, so I've had to do that before to someone, but there's through practice, through training, um, trial and error, you learn how to satisfy the singers a little bit more. I think you're in a great place where you don't have all the equipment yet. So if you can do well with less things, imagine when you have more things. When I think I told you guys, probably almost 10 years ago, I was at Hebron Youth Church. I was there for a little bit, I think for close to a couple of years, and uh, there was only vocal mics and a keyboard with drums. The keyboardist was connected to an amp. You had a bass player connected to an amp, and you had the drummer that was in cage. I think he had electric guitars too, but I didn't have the keyboardist coming out of the house speakers. I think we were in the process of getting a DI box to plug the keyboardist to and all that stuff. So I was just dealing with the amp at that time for all those musicians, and it was an experience. You know, I had to make sure that the amp from rehearsal, we made sure we got this down pat, because what you do during rehearsal is what you do during the service or the event. It's a way that you just train the mind. So the mind it's weird how the mind is, but literally what you do during rehearsal is what you do during the event. So I had to make sure the amps were at lower volume from rehearsal. So on Sabbath morning, it won't throw off the keyboardist or the bass player or electric guitar. You know, you don't want it loud during rehearsal and then they come in Sabbath morning and wondering why you turned it down. You know, you want to set the standard, that foundation from rehearsal. This is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be from rehearsal. This is how it's going to be Saturday morning as well. So yeah, I would turn down the amps. Anything that sounded weird, like the amps had EQs on them. So if the keyboard had like a hollow sound, the amp had a hollow sound. There's certain frequencies I turned down. So some of these amps have graphic EQs on it, so you could turn down 1 kilohertz, 500 hertz, anything that has a hollow, any frequency that deals with hollowness, that hollow sound, it gives that hollow sound. You can turn that down a little bit, and the keyboard would start to sound cleaner, less noisy, less irritating to the ear. And then of course, if you want to learn about EQs, you could go back to the videos that I have up on EQ and the different frequencies and so forth. But
I know we're eating too much of your time here, but if you allow me one last question. I really heard you well when you said that sometimes you might want to put a microphone to the amps, right? Right now, what we're doing for the Zoom, which we're still using Zoom for a few people that still are stuck to it, we are taking a feed from the mixer and then sending it into I think it's called a voodoo box or whatever, some red box that then broadcasts that sound to the computer, right?
Focusrite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're listening to the Zoom, you can only pick up one sound at a time, and it's very choppy. So my thinking, as you're saying that you can hear things coming from the ambient, so maybe we should find one mic to feed that thing, right? So that the experience that people are listening to in the Zoom is just everything of the room and not just every single sound of mics coming into the mixer.
Okay, so like audience mics, you're saying?
Audience, exactly.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's a different. I think you have the violin mic that you currently have. I have to look at it. Maybe it can be used for an audience mic. And probably any other mics you just have laying around.
Yeah, because I have the Zoom people cannot hear the piano, or maybe they can't even hear the drums or even sometimes maybe they can hear the bass, but they don't
I'm
hear the
sorry.
instruments. If somebody's doing a solo, they will just hear the solo without the accompaniment.
Oh, okay. Oh no, you're saying something different. Okay.
Yeah.
No, what you're saying is just having mics for allowing people on Zoom to hear all the instruments.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's something different.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get what you're saying. For your current situation, you want to
Yeah,
be able,
until we
what
change.
the,
Yeah, it's a poor man's way of doing it until we, move on. In the
you want
meantime.
something, yeah, to hold you until you
Hmm.
guys can purchase what you
Yeah.
need,
So,
right?
my thinking was that one of the violin mics that you saw there, the small ones. Where could we position it and to feed that box for the Zoom?
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I would play around with it more so in the probably in the middle of the room, not the middle, like not literally in the middle. I mean like in front of the pulpit,
Yeah.
away from the drums,
Hmm.
but in between the keyboardist and the drummer, at the front of the pulpit,
Got it.
probably. Yeah,
Okay.
right in front of that
I'll play
podium.
around with that. I'll play around with it.
I recommend do that during rehearsal.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. So,
Okay.
do the musicians come for rehearsal, right?
No.
No. Yeah, we should start doing that.
Yes.
Are they paid musicians or?
Yeah. Yes. Some of them, and our system is not standardized, so we're making progress.
Okay.
We're making some
So yeah.
progress.
So
Hmm.
we'll chat about that in private.
Yeah. Of course.
Um, I'll text you after this, and
Sure. Sure.
we can
Sure.
figure out a time. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, we're way out of time, so I'm sorry for prolonging it. Mm.
No, no, it's all right. I gave everyone until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So that's good. Um, great questions. Um, questions that it helps you to dig deeper as to what the issue is and where you need to go. Um, and yeah, so this today was the last day of the virtual audio production training class. We will meet in person. I'll speak to Lewis on when we can meet in person. It will be on a Friday night and Sabbath morning. Um, and then we have a couple of weeks off, and we jump into the video production virtual training, which will be done. It will be a 6-week um, course on how to do video production, and it's more so focused on how things will be, because you don't really have a lot of video equipment, so it'll be focused on how things, basically the foundation of video production, the basics. So when you do get the equipment eventually, you won't be too lost, but you figure out. I wouldn't be surprised if you figure out a way to apply it to what you currently have. But that should be fun as well, video production, and how to understand it, and really what to do with it. Yeah. So it was great seeing you guys today, virtually. And within a day or two, I'll have this recording up so you can go over it. Yeah.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday.
All right.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
day.
Take care.